Origins of language. What was the first language? How did language begin? And where and when? It's hard to imagine a cultural phenomenon that's more important than the development of language. And yet, no human attribute offers less conclusive evidence regarding its origins. The absence of such evidence certainly hasn't discouraged speculation about the origins of language. Over the centuries, many theories have been put forward. Each theory accounts for only a small part of what we know about language. Here, identified by their disparaging nicknames, are some of the oldest and most common theories of how language began. The Tata theory. Sir Richard Paget, influenced by Darwin, believed that body movement preceded language. Language began as an unconscious vocal imitation of these movements, like the way a child's mouth will move when they use scissors, or my tongue sticks out when I try to play the guitar. This evolved into the popular idea that language may have derived from gestures. The Bow Bow theory. According to this theory, language began when our ancestors started imitating the natural sounds around them. The first speech was onomatopoeic, marked by echoey words such as moo, meow, splash, cuckoo, crash, clang, bass, and bang. What's wrong with this theory? Relatively few words are onomatopoeic, and these words vary from one language to another. For instance, a dog's bark is heard as "au au" in Brazil, "hum hum" in Albania, and "wang wang" in China. In addition, many onomatopoeic words are of Russian origin, and not all are derived from natural sounds. The ding-dong theory. This theory, favored by Plato and Pythagoras, maintains that the speech arose in response to the essential qualities of objects in the environment. The original sounds people made were supposedly in harmony with the world around them. Some people have pointed out that there is a rather mysterious correspondence between sounds and meanings. Small, sharp, high things tend to have words with high front vowels in many languages, while big, round, low things tend to have round back vowels. Compare itsy bitsy, teeny weeny with moon, for example. This is often referred to as sound symbolism. What's wrong with this theory? Apart from some rare instances of sound symbolism, there's no persuasive evidence in any language of an innate connection between sound and meaning. The poo-poo theory. This theory holds that the speech began with interjections, spontaneous cries of pain, "oh!" surprise, "oh!" and other emotions, "yabba dabba doo." What's wrong with this theory? No language contains very many interjections, and Crystal points out the clicks, intakes of breath, and other noises which are used in this way bear little relationship to the vowels and consonants found in phonology. The you, he, you theory. The idea that the speech started with the rhythm, chants, and grunts people use to coordinate their physical actions when they work together. These were perhaps calls for assistance or cooperation accompanied by appropriate gestures. What's wrong with this theory? Though this notion may account for some of the rhythmic features of language, it doesn't go very far in explaining where words come from. There's a pretty big difference between this kind of thing and what we do most of the time with language. The sing-song theory, or the la-la theory. Danish linguist Jesperson suggested that language comes out of playing, laughter, cooing, courtship, emotional matterings, and especially song. He even suggests that, contrary to other theories, perhaps some of our first words were actually long and musical, rather than the short grunts many assume we started with. What's wrong with this theory? This theory still fails to account for the gap between the emotional and the rational aspects of speech expression. These days, about a century after banishment of the language origin question, scientists started to consider it again, but this time using evidence from paleontology about the likely brain and vocal tract features of early humans and hominids. Rather than speculate about which kinds of vocalizations gave rise to its pitch sounds, they consider which physical, cognitive, and social factors must first be in place in order for there to be language. This doesn't make the question of how language started any easier to answer, but it does make you appreciate that whatever those necessary factors are, we got all of them. Poof, la la la, ta ta, and so on.